What up? I'm Shep Papelka, and this is the Braves TomaBlog. So we're going into 2018, and it is, at least in our minds, the final year of just straight rebuilding. What does that mean for our players and former prospects in 2018? It means that 2018 is the last year that we just send them out and see how they do. By the end of this year, we need to know what we have so that we can address what we don't have in the off-season. And I just want to say, whether you're preaching more patience or preaching less patience, I don't think that anyone can say that Braves fans need or are warranted to have more patience with the players that we've brought up. I don't think that there's any organization in all of professional baseball that could have had more patience with the guys that we've had patience with over the last 3 years. Our patience as Braves fans and the Braves organizations has been tested to its righteous end, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to turn into an all-star within 2018. What I am saying is that by the end of 2018, we need to know what we have with each of these players at each of these positions. And if they can't live up to it, if we're still sitting around waiting on what they're going to become, or if they flop, or if they get injured and we don't know what to expect from them, either got to trade them, got to cut them, or you got to do something different with them, because we can't go into 2019 hoping to contend going, I hope this guy can turn in an okay season. So this is the list of guys who 2018, this is really your final audition, your last chance. You got to get it together and show us what role you're going to do. So here's the list. For starters, and I said this last year, Matt Wisler, Aaron Blair, oh my goodness, it's time to just put up or shut up, or have the team make a decision on them. I'm ready to be done with these guys. I'm not sitting around holding out, like, what's going to happen with Wisler, what's going to happen with Blair. More than likely, they're going to be cut. But here's the thing. The rotation is wide open. The bullpen is wide open. The only thing keeping them out of it is themselves. If they can just pitch right, then they'll be in it and they'll have a role with us. And we want them to do that, and they haven't taken advantage of it. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years, and they haven't put together 3 good starts or 3 good bullpen appearances in a row. They give up home runs. They give up big innings. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. We can't go into a year of actual contention with these guys pitching like they're pitching. It's either by the end of this year, we got to make the call. If they're not here yet, just cut them. Next up, Mike Foltynewicz. We're going into our 4th year of Mike Foltynewicz, and we still talk about this guy like he's a rookie, because he plays like one, and he's so talented, and we all want him to be the ace. We want him to turn into Jacob deGrom or Corey Kluber or something like that, where he's so remarkably talented. But I'm sick of it, and he's arbitration eligible. He lost his arbitration case this year. He's not a kid anymore. We talk about, oh, we're watching this kid grow up in front of us. He's not a kid. He's a man. He's a father. And I'm not saying that if Foltynewicz has a similar year to last year that we have to trade him or cut him, although I do think that if we found a good partner right now, we trade him today. But you can't go into 2019 if this guy has another 4.50 ERA season, and we're sitting around going into 2019 hoping that our number 2 or number 3 starter can get through the 6th inning without giving up a 4-run inning and having hissy fit. It reminds me of Jess Samardzija, how much both he and the team, in this case, insist on him being a starter. That's why I say we don't have to cut bait, we don't have to trade him necessarily, but if by the end of this year he's the same guy, it's time to put him in the bullpen. It would work a lot better. Next up is Julio Teheran, and it sucks why he's on the list, and we all know why he's on the list. He can't pitch at SunTrust Park, or at least he couldn't pitch at SunTrust Park. We gave him an extra offseason to figure it out using some of that famous Braves rebuilding patience, that we're going to give him an extra chance to come back and show us if he figured it out or not. And unfortunately, it's going to be pretty plain and pretty obvious. Either he figured it out and things are normal, or he didn't figure it out and we got to trade him. And we'll know by, honestly, mid-May, the All-Star break, really, whether we got to trade Julio Teheran or not. And it sucks, it would set us back, but I don't see any way that we can send Julio Teheran out in a contending season fully aware with 2 years of evidence that he can't pitch at SunTrust Park. I included Lucas Sims on this list. This isn't a make or break year for Lucas Sims. He's 23, he still has some time to figure stuff out. We have older pitchers going through worse struggles than Sims is. I wish I could find a role for him. I wish I could know what to expect out of him, because I do think that he will be a major leaguer. I don't know if it'll be for us. If he's one of the 5 best pitchers at any point in the year this year, then he'll be in the rotation. I just would love to see him carve out a role. He seems like a solid candidate for a long man out of the bullpen. It's really more so on Brian Snitker to find him a role that he can thrive in and do well and contribute to the team in. If he doesn't this year, it's not a huge deal, but I really would like to see Lucas Sims sink or swim at some point this year. Next, I lumped them all together, but Arodys Vizcaíno, Jose Ramirez, Ian Kroll, Mauricio Cabrera. You got to figure it out. We have this conglomerate, or this mosh pit of talented minor league relief arms. None of them have a distinguished role. None of them know exactly what they're doing. And Vizcaíno is 27 years old. He's going into his 4th major league season, but we still talk about him like he's one of the rookies. He's about to be a free agent in not very long. But he kind of pitches like one. I still don't know what to expect when Vizcaíno takes the mound. All I want this year is to figure out which ones are going to do what in some role, which ones are good enough to be our pitchers or not. Now, we didn't go out and get a pitcher or a bullpen arm to do something specific, but our bullpen's got to improve because it was atrocious last year, and we took it like it was a joke, still putting Jim Johnson out there to close. He blew 9 saves. Someone needs to be the closer, someone needs to be the 8th inning guy, someone needs to be the 7th. I don't care who it is, but we need to figure out who can do what, because we have a lot of money going into next year, and we need to figure out what holes in the bullpen that we need to plug. In order to do that, we need to figure out what is a hole and what isn't. And I mean, honestly, this is to our advantage to have guys with distinguished roles, because there's a great relief market out there. Andrew Miller, Kelvin Herrera, Zach Britton. I mean, these are guys that are legitimately going to be in our conversation of guys that we might want to acquire. We need our relief guys to know what they're doing. A lot of that is on Brian Snitker. He needs to stop necessarily just playing righty-lefty every single game, because we can't figure out who is worth what, because sometimes they do well and then they come in with the matchup and they blow it, and I have to say I'm done. I'm done with the 5-run 7th innings, and I'm done with the blown saves and losing games that we don't need to lose. We could have had 78, 79 wins last year if we could just get our bullpen together, and it's not as hard as we were making it. One of the last guys on this list is Johan Camargo, and it's very different for Camargo from everyone else. It's that Camargo had a good year last year, and now he's seemingly going to play third base for us this year, at least for a period of time. For one, we need to figure out what's real when it comes to Camargo, what's an illusion, because he hit .299 last year. His average on balls in play was .364. The last time his average on balls in play was above .300 was when he was in rookie ball. The rest of his years in the minors, his average on balls in play was between .294 and .317, so you can expect a little bit of regression at the plate from Camargo this year more than likely. 2018 is the year that we find out, is Camargo a legitimate starter at the major league level, or is he a utility guy at the major league level, or was he a fluke? We have to figure out which of those he was, and so that's why it's important to get Camargo a lot of at-bats this year so that we know what he is going forward. And last, but obviously not at all the least, is Dansby Swanson. Here's the situation with Dansby. A lot went wrong last year, a lot of it was unpredictable, and a lot of it wasn't necessarily his fault. He had an average on balls in play of .292. Compare that to an average on balls in play of .383 in his 129 at-bats in 2016. His luck will get better. And really, what we just need to see from Dansby, it'll be pretty simple if we just see improvement. If he lowers his strikeout percentage, if he puts the ball in play more, if he walks more, if he cuts down 20 errors is ridiculous, but other than that, he's actually a pretty solid fielder. He has solid range. He makes a regular amount of routine plays. It's just the errors that lead to big innings. We can't have any of it. If he improves on those things, that's fine. We've got our shortstop for the long term. He's off to a bad start at spring training this year. He's hitting .194 in 36 at-bats. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. If his confidence is hurt, if Dansby doesn't improve in 2018, he's not our shortstop going forward. I'm sorry. If he has the numbers like he had a 636 OPS last year, it's unacceptable. You can't have that. You can't have the 20 errors. You can't have shortstop having 21% strikeout percentage. That's not something that we can have going forward. And we don't need a great shortstop to be competitive, but we can't have a bad one. He's he's about at league average right now. We have to figure out what we have, and if he doesn't pull it together, unfortunately, we're going to have to start looking at moving on. And if that's the case, there are other candidates in-house. Like I said, we're looking at Camargo. We could have a position switch of Ozzie and Dansby. There's a lot of options that we have. We could go outside the organization. There's not a short amount of shortstops on the market. We have plenty of options that we could have. But if Dansby comes out, if Dansby comes out and he hits 250, 60 RBIs, has a 320 to 330 OBP, he improves his OPS to over 700, and he reduces the errors, especially at vital times during the game, we don't have to have this discussion. You know, I don't like making this list for the video, but I think that it is, you know, an important thing for us to have in our mind in terms of deadlines, because we can't have unlimited patience, because we don't have unlimited years, and we're spending years of Inciarte and Teheran and Freeman as we're looking to do this rebuild, and we can't sit around and wait and wait and wait. We need to have deadlines on things to see which players sink and which players swim. Even though we have this mosh pit of prospect, we need to know at some point what to go with. And so that's why I think it's important to put some form of a deadline to say that we need this year, or we got to look at other options. It's essentially that the Braves can't marry themselves to the performance of their guys. They have to look with a skeptical eye and say, how can we go about making this team a winner any way that we can? We want it to be with our guys, but if that's not going to happen, we need to be ready not to have that be the case. But if all those players perform well and they improve on the areas that we talked about, we'll win 80, 85 games this year. We'll be looking great. Things will be looking perfect going into 2019. So, you know, we have a high ceiling and a low floor.